Stop selling per seat, because for most MSPs, per seat quietly turns into a margin leak. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The pricing models that feel simplest on a proposal often becomes the messiest in operations. Because the moment your tech has to pause and think, is this included? Your delivery cost goes up, your response time goes down, and your client experience becomes inconsistent. So, in this video, I'm not going to give you some magic number like charge 150 per user. This is not serious advice without context. Instead, I will give you a pricing model that scales operationally, meaning it reduces scope chaos, makes your team faster, and helps you protect margin while growing. Here's the real reason MSP pricing breaks. Scope uncertainty. When what's included isn't crystal clear, 3 things happen. 1. Every ticket becomes a debate. 2. Small requests quietly become unpaid work. 3. Every onboarding becomes a custom snowflake. And that's why this line matters. If your technician has to pause mid-ticket and ask, is this included? Your pricing is broken, because scaling is repeatability, not just sales. Let's keep it simple. Most MSPs evolve through 3 stages. Stage 1, break fix or pay per hour. This is great when you're starting. Low entry barrier for customers, cash flow is fast, and you learn real-world patterns. You build process maturity, you build trust, and you get your first loyal clients. The downside is scale. Revenue is unpredictable, delivery is reactive, and hiring is goddamn risky because demand swings. Break fix is fine to start, it's just not where you want to stay. Stage 2, packages. Price per seat, per device, per tenant, per service, or hybrid. This is where MSPs mature. You move from selling time to selling a defined service. And here's the key. Packages work when the operator can see entitlement instantly. If your PSA or contract doesn't make it obvious what the client bought, your package is just break fix with a nicer branding. A clean way to think about packages is by service domain. For example, managed workplace, everything around the user and endpoints. Managed M365, tenant management, security baselines, licensing oversight. Managed servers, backups, patching policy, monitoring. You can price these per user, per device, or per tenant, depending on what you are truly managing and what drives your cost. And yes, hybrid is absolutely normal. Something fixed monthly, project builds separately. If the work has a clear start and finish, it's a project, and it should be priced as a project. Stage 3 is one primary offer plus complete add-ons. This scales best operationally because it removes constant choice and confusion. One core managed service becomes your default. Your team knows what managed means. Your onboarding is repeatable. Documentation becomes consistent. Automation finally pays off. But, and this is important, one primary offer does not mean one size fits it all. It means one standardized baseline and then add-ons with clear boundaries. And each offer must have a clearly defined SLA. Support hours, response targets, escalation rules, because SLA is not marketing. SLA is staffing. SLA is cost. Now let's talk about the most important piece, the baseline package, a thing every managed client must purchase. This is what keeps your delivery consistent and your margin predictable. For many MSPs, that baseline is something like managed workplace, monitoring and alerting, endpoint protection, patching policy, and backups for critical data, plus a defined support window and response expectations. Not because you want to be fancy, because standardization is what makes MSPs profitable. If every customer has a different baseline, you're not scaling, you're multiplying complexity. Now, here's where the pricing becomes real. You need a charging rule your operator can apply in 2 seconds, not in theory. Just, is this included, billable, or a project? So keep it simple with 3 price lanes. Lane 1, included monthly. This is the work your team should just do, because it's part of the managed service. Monitoring, patching, standard endpoint coverage, and normal day-by-day support inside your defined support window. If it's in this lane, nobody asks for approval, it's included. Lane 2, billable extra. This is real work that's outside your baseline, like non-standard requests, one-off tweaks, special setups, or can you quickly tasks that aren't part of what you're sold. This lane prevents the slow margin death of unpaid extras. You either bill it or you include a very clearly defined allowance. Lane 3. Projects. If it needs planning, scheduling, dependencies, and deliverables, it's a project. Migrations, restructures, new sites, major changes. Quote it, scope it, don't hide it inside managed. And define one exception upfront. Emergencies. Major outages or security incidents need a clear commercial rule, because 2 AM is not the time to negotiate. If you keep those lanes clear, your operator stops guessing, your tech stops negotiating, and your client stops being surprised. Now, how do you actually find your price? Yes, of course, you should know what others in your region charge for similar clients. Many MSPs are more open about pricing than you think if you just ask nicely. You don't have to copy it, but it gives you a reality check. Then your biggest pricing lever is the service window and SLA. A 12/5 service is not the same as 16/7. And 24/7 is not a little service. It's a different operational commitment. It's completely reasonable to price that much higher. In some cases to charge extra for certain hours of utilization. But here's the rule: never ever promise what you can't deliver, even if 30% of your workforce is sick. Whatever you put in your SLA, you must be able to execute that consistently. So, what scales? Not per se as a religion. What scales is the standardized baseline, clean add-ons, entitlement visible instantly, SLAs that match reality, and projects clearly separated from support. That's how you protect margin, because your operator isn't guessing, your technician isn't renegotiating, and your customer isn't surprised. Let me land this. Break fix help you start. Packages help you grow. One primary offer helps you scale. But whichever model you choose, the real win is the same. Make what's included obvious and make exceptions predictable. Now tell me, what's killing margin in your MSP right now? Scope creep, pricing complexity, or sales confidence? Drop your answer in the comments. And as a quiet side note, those business model conversations, packaging, SLA, and delivery discipline are exactly what MSPs worldwide are comparing notes on right now. MSP Global is one of those places where those discussions happen face to face, without the fluff.